Happy Friday the 13th. Today I will be doing a special episode of horror movies inspired by. Of course, we'll be going in with my Friday the 13th palette. Nestled deep in the woods of New Jersey, Camp Crystal Lake opened its doors. A series of brutal murders would turn a sleepy lakeside town into one of the most terrifying mysteries. In 1957, a young boy attending camp unfortunately drowned swimming in the lake. The counsellors that should have been watching him were preoccupied, let's say. The boy's name was Jason. He was 11 years old at the time, and his death would mark the beginning of what many believe was a curse. Now, 1 year later to the date, 2 counsellors were found brutally murdered in the camp grounds. No suspect was ever identified. Locals started calling it Camp Blood. The camp was shut down, but the legend had already taken root. Now let's fast forward a little bit to the summer of 1980. Camp Crystal Lake was reopened by a man named Steve Christie. Determined to restore Camp Crystal Lake's reputation, he hired a small team of young counsellors to help get the place ready. What they didn't know was they were being watched. On Friday, the 13th of June, all but one of the counsellors would be found dead, murdered, slashed, decapitated and brutalised. No one heard the screams, no one saw the killer, and by morning Camp Crystal Lake was soaked in blood. I will be right back. I cannot talk and do liner. The one lone survivor, a woman named Alice Hardy, claimed she was attacked by an older woman. Alice said she was deranged and blamed the counsellors for the death of her son, Jason. Alice fought back, and in an act of desperate self-defense, she managed to get the upper hand. She decapitated the older woman with her own machete. As the sun rose, police finally arrived to find the bodies. Alice recounts the events of that night and how she managed to survive. Police investigators found the deranged older woman was in fact named Pamela Voorhees, the mother of Jason Voorhees, the young boy who drowned in the lake. And this should have been the end of the story, right? Wrong. Now, 1 year to the date, Alice Hardy had vanished. Oh, I think that was a bit too much. Her body was never found, and throughout the 1980s there were a series of brutal killings. Hang on a second. This was Trigwell's liquid blush. The pigment. I love a blush moment, but less is definitely more. Anyway. In the 1980s, there were a series of brutal killings in and around Camp Crystal Lake, each more violent than the last. Witnesses described a masked man, silent, relentless, and wielding a machete. To this day, no official suspect has been charged in the deaths surrounding Camp Crystal Lake. The locals refuse to speak of it, and the area remains abandoned, swallowed by the forest. So is the urban legend of Jason Voorhees just that, a legend? Or is the real killer still lurking out in the woods? This is cute. This is from Ombre Cosmetic. I really like this lip. All I know is that on Friday the 13th, no one is safe at Camp Crystal Lake. Friday the 13th is my favourite horror franchise, and this was really fun. If you like stories like this, then follow along.